This is the HTC Windows Phone 8S ear speaker replacement guide brought to you by Repairers Universe. To perform this repair, we're going to use a safe open pry tool, a small Phillips screwdriver, and a Torx T5 screwdriver. To begin, we're going to want to make sure that our device is fully powered off. Once that's done, we're going to use a safe open pry tool and gently release that bottom cover right there. Should pop off very easily. It's just held in place with a few clips. We're now going to use a Torx T5 screwdriver to remove the two T5 screws. At this point, we're going to use our safe open pry tool and start prying along the outside edges here. Just held in place with a few clips. As you can see here, it's already loosening up. Going to want to work both sides. This will allow us to remove the full assembly from the back cover. There we go. I'm just going to gently pull down the device out of the back cover. Right there we have the loudspeaker, and that's about it on the back cover. Now that we have the motherboard fully exposed, we're going to use our small Phillips screwdriver to remove the 6 small Phillips screws shown in the diagram to the left. These top 4 will be a different size than the bottom 2, so make sure you keep them separated. After these bottom 2 screws are removed, we're just going to remove this metal cover over the USB port. Now we're going to use your safe open pry tool and begin lifting this plastic cover around the battery. You don't want to fully remove this as the battery connection is folded above this, so we'll need to remove the battery first. But by lifting the housing up a little bit, it'll give us better access to release some of the adhesive underneath the battery. You want to make sure not to bend the battery in any sort of way at this point. Just use your safe open pry tool and get along the outside edges of it and release some of that adhesive. And then just fold it over to the left and remove the plastic housing. The battery itself is just going to be held in place with a little pop connector right here. Just going to lift that up and remove the battery. On the motherboard itself, we have 3 jaw connectors as well as a vibrate motor to remove. Just going to use a pry tool here to try to lift out. And I'm going to switch to a spudger. Just make it a little bit easier to lift out that vibrate motor from the housing. Now using our safe open pry tool again, we're just going to release this mylar tape covering the first jaw connector up here. There's going to be more tape covering this connector down here as well. I'm just going to lift up on this white tab here and push the flex cable out. And just bend it back. I'm going to do the same thing with these bottom 2 connectors. Just lift up the tab and release the flex cable. This bottom one here doesn't have much slack, so be very careful when you're trying to remove it. Or I'm just going to hold off until I'm about ready to move the motherboard to make it a little bit easier. On this left side here, we're going to release the volume button flex cable, which is held in place with a little bit of adhesive onto the housing. Just get your pry tool underneath it and gently lift up. You want to be very careful not to actually rip this cable though. Once that adhesive is released, we can just bend it backwards there. And the final step will be to release the power button up here. It's going to be held in place with just a little bit of adhesive as well as a little cover right there. Just release that adhesive and you just fold it over. So now we're just going to watch out for that cable down the bottom right. And we're just going to start removing the motherboard. It's held in place with a few clips, so you just want to be very careful. Gently pry it over here on this left side and slide it out. As you can see, that bottom right connection just slid right out at that point, and the motherboard can now be removed. Now that we have the back of the screen assembly exposed, up in the top portion here, we'll have the ear speaker. This will simply be held in place with adhesive. We're just going to use a safe open pry tool and gently lift the ear speaker out of the spot in the housing, and you can then replace it and reassemble your device. You can find all the tools and parts used in this video at repairsuniverse.com. Also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you found this video useful, and please be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching.